Okay, this lesson is finding angle measures given parallel lines cut by a transversal, all that blah, blah, blah stuff. I just want you to see, here are those parallel lines I was talking about. They're cut by another line. We call that a transversal. It's like slices through. It creates 8 angles. All of the angles off the top line are exactly the same. They're clones of the ones down below. Okay, so if you figure out all these, if you figure out 1, 2, 3, and 4, you'll also figure out 5, 6, 7, and 8. But actually, I have a real easy way to figure out with only one angle measure. So if you're given one angle measure, so suppose the measure, that's what that means, measure of angle 7 equals 78. All right, well, where's 7? That's 78. Find the measure of angle 2 and the measure of angle 4. All right, so I will highlight the ones that they want us to find, but I'm not going to teach you how to just find those two. I'm going to show you how easy it is to find all of the angles, and honestly, you need a big angle measure and you need a little angle measure. And I know this sounds so elementary, but I'm going to show it the elementary way, and then I'm going to explain using the the correct terminology. Okay, so I want you to look at this. See the 78? Do you see how that's smaller? That angle right there is smaller than that one. The line goes here. So this is a bigger angle, and that's the little angle. Well, if I look for all the little angles, there's only a little angle and a big angle. Okay, there's the little, there's the big. There's the little, there's the big. There's the little, the big, there's the little, the big. And you don't even have to like really know which, like, well, where does it go? They'll give you one measure. They'll either give you the big or the little. They gave us the little. And there will be a way to figure out which one is which in just as soon as I show you. 78. Okay, these two are opposite angles, so that's 78. So 5 and 7 are 78. Okay? If I look at this, the corresponding angle to 5 up here is 1. That's 78. Remember that? Corresponding angles. And for 7, that's right there. 3 and 7 are corresponding angles. That's 78. So I'm going to go to this. Remember? Same thing. If you know the angle here, you also know that angle. Okay? And if it's here and here, it's also here and here, because those are opposite angles. Opposite angles are congruent. Those are called vertical angles with the X. Opposite angles are congruent. Opposite angles are congruent. Opposite, opposite. So now I'm going to go back, and I've already figured out that those are opposite angles and those are opposite angles, and they're all 78. Now, if I look at this, I'll do this one, it's even easier. Look at this. 78 and this angle, if I add them together, they're going to equal 180, because that's on a straight line. It's supplementary. Okay, so I figure out what 180 minus 78 is, and that's 102. Some of you did it mentally, but I'm showing again, where did I get 102? Well, I know that these two added together is 180, so 180 minus that angle is 102. So I know that's 102, but wait, if that's 102, the opposite angle to that's 102. But wait, if that's 102, the corresponding angle down here is 102. And then, but wait, if that's 102, so is that angle. That's 102. I just filled out the entire thing. How many numbers did I literally use? I know there's 8 total, but the values of the numbers, I only used 2 values, 78 and 102. And they're crisscross because of being vertical angles and corresponding. They're in the same spot. And the biggest thing that I see that I can teach is one is a little angle. That's the 78, because it's less than 90, and then there's 102. It's the big angle. It's the obtuse angle. I have an acute angle and an obtuse. This is when I just want to go off and preach and say, if you just learn the vocabulary and get this stuff in your head way back when you first learn, it starts to all tie together here, okay? Acute, obtuse. Less than 90, bigger than 90. So that's my little, that's my big. 78, 102. So then every big angle is easy to fill in, and every little angle is easy to fill in. And what did they want? Well, I can go back and look, and angle 2 would be 102, and angle 4 would be 102, okay? But I go ahead and fill out the whole thing because when you get into algebra, you're gonna be filling out the whole thing anyway. All right, they will give you one measure. That's all you need. It unlocks all of the angles. Angle 3 is 46, and they're looking for angles 5 and 8. All right, so that's the little angle, okay? So I'm gonna, this time, no, I'm just gonna keep with it. Big angle, little angle. I'm just gonna keep it like I do in class. The little angle's 46. Well, then what would the big angle be? I don't know. Why don't we subtract 46 from 180? Because I know I'm gonna have supplementary here. That's supplementary right there, or right there, doesn't matter. But I'm gonna find out what the other angle is by subtracting 46 from 180. 134. So my big angle is 134. My little angle is 46. But now I'm gonna look at this, I'm gonna go, okay, looking at this, that's an X, so it's a vertical angle. Opposite angles are congruent. And then that means that the big angle next to it is 134, because those are opposite angles are congruent because of vertical angles. And then whatever this is, these are clones. Don't forget, whatever these are clones. So 46, 134, 134, 46, done, bam. What they want was angle 5 and angle 8, and I gave it to them, okay? All right. I printed this one instead of doing it on the Alex because this is what they're gonna do. They're gonna throw this at you, okay? And again, the next 3 problems are still just putting in one angle at a time. So I'm gonna turn it to its side. What I love is I spoke to one of my students, Anne, and she told me that it takes her just a few minutes in my lesson to figure out what to do, and that's precisely what I wanted. I want some of you, once you figure it out, go for it for the rest of the assignment. But those of you that find it a little hard to figure out, just watch me throughout every problem, and you can be doing the same on yours at the same time. I turned mine so I could see all of my actually, you know, supplementary and vertical, you could also see if it was the other direction. So I'll pick one of them to do where the lines are not looking like this, but right now it's just so easy to see. I'm gonna do it this way. Angle 2 is 131. They gave me that information. So angle 2 is 131, so that's 131. And then I do the same. It's called the big angle, so the big angle down here is 131. All I have to do now is subtract 131 from 180, and that gives me 49. So that means that's 49, 49, 49, 49. Done. Done. I put my hands up like goal. Done. Okay? What do they want? I don't even know. What do they want? They wanted 5 and angle 7. So there's 5 and there's angle 7. Okay? So this is how it works. You get one of them, you subtract that from 180, and that gives you the other, and then you just go to town, filling them in. Okay, here we go. Angle 6 is 100, measure of angle 6 is 107. 107, 180 minus 107. Well, can you just figure out what 80 minus 7 is? Okay, fine. So here we go. It's 73. But I heard kids saying, no, I didn't know how to do that. So whatever, I did it. All right, if that's 107, the opposite angle is 107. And then in the same spot up above, those are also 107, which is also called the big angle. Now the little angle is gonna be 73. Okay, so I just go around and I fill in all the blanks of 73. Done. Get it? So dang easy. The last unit of the entire year is super easy. I'm highlighting what they were wanting. They wanted angle 1 and angle 3. Okay, if that's not enough, we'll go ahead and do this one, and this time I'm not gonna turn it. Angle 8 is 56. There you go, 56. If that's 56, its opposite angle is 56. Oh wait, those in the same spots over here, corresponding angles, are 56. Because the same angle here is that angle. Same angle here is that angle. Now, I go 100 minus 56 is 44. Oh, I said 100. Dang it. That's where I screwed up. I was like, what? That seems weird. 9 take away 8. Oh, I did it right. 180 minus 56. It's 144. 144, that's my big angle, 144. So, I know that goes in the other one because I only have a big angle and a little angle. So I just fill them in for the rest of the spots. I'm done. All right, so then what's I'm looking for angle 2 and 3. Where's 2 and 3? I don't know. There's 2, there's 3. So those are the answers that I would put into Alex, okay? All right. Taking a look at number 6, and let's see, we only have 8 problems total on this, it looks like. All right. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, look at all that. Oh my gosh, I'm scared. Not really. Okay, 2 parallel lines, G and H, yeah, cut by the transversal K. Okay, so suppose angle 2 is 145. That's fine. Because this one's also 145, and then in the same spots, that's 145, that's 145. All right, cool. I don't think I have to know anything else. It doesn't show me any other angles I need to fill in. But you know what? Hey, just for grins, let's figure out the little angle, shall we? Sure. 10 take away 5 is 5. 7 take away 4 is 3. So this is 35, this is 35, this is 35, this is 35. Got that done. Woo, that was fun. Now, we see that 2 and 3. So look at 2 and look at 3. I'll turn it. I'm going to turn it for this one. Okay, we see that angles 2, I can't read my writing. Where's the 2? There's the 2 and there's a 3. Okay, do you see that they're in the same spot in both lines? And our choices are corresponding, vertical, alternate interior, alternate exterior. You should have done the other lesson prior to this, okay, but I am going to throw this on here just one more time, just to remind you, this is all in the last video. Okay, corresponding are in the same spot, all right? Alternate interior are right here, alternate exterior are out here. Everything color-coded are the pairs, okay? They're also congruent. The one on this side is the big angle, and this is the big angle down here. That's the little angle, and that's the little angle down here. Big goes to big, little and little, because they are congruent, they're saying, okay? Congruent, congruent, blue congruent, pink congruent, see? All congruent. And alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles are congruent. So we see that 2 and 3, so 2 and 3 are corresponding angles. And since the lines are parallel, angles 2 and 3 are congruent, supplementary, I guess that's only choices. Congruent or supplementary, they're congruent, okay? And by the way, that's the symbol. And then so angle 3, wow, if angle 2 was 145, I already filled it out. Angle 3 is 145. Oops, there you go. Okay, we see that angle 1 and 2, so there's 1 and 2. They're across from each other. They're opposite each other. So what kind of angles are they? Yeah, you're right. Vertical angles, the B. I guess I should put A and B. Okay, they're vertical angles, okay? So that means that angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. They're not supplementary. They're not right next to each other, adding up to 180. They are the exact same angle. They are congruent. Therefore, angle 1 and angle 3. So we already know, look at angle 1 and look at angle 3. They're the same. That means they are congruent. But they're congruent because, why? They're not corresponding because they're not in the same spot. Okay? They're not vertical because that's vertical. Alternate interior or alternate exterior? Look between the lines and look outside the lines. If you're saying inside the lines is interior, you're correct. They are alternate interior, oopsie, I didn't realize that wasn't showing. Alternate interior angles, okay? Last thing, the relationship between angle 1 and angle 3 is an example of the following rule. When parallel lines are cut by a transversal, it says alternate, let's see, 1, oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at 1, that's what 2. 1 and 3, we're talking about these angles, okay? Those are alternate interior. So what we need to look for here, when the two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, not the alternate exterior, that is true, that's a true statement, but these aren't alternate exterior. Locate what these are down in your answers. Alternate interior angles. And it says they could be congruent or supplementary. Nope, we're talking about congruent. So it's alternate interiors angles are congruent, and that's what you're gonna say. So really you just have to know what are those called, and you have to be able to know that they are congruent, which congruent means they're the same, okay? All right, number 7. Okay, so angle 1, suppose the measure of angle 1 is 50. Great, the 2 is 50, and then this is 50, and then this is 50, because those are the 4 little angles. Okay, 50 plus what's 180? 130. For just grins, I'm gonna just go ahead and put the big angle in there. There's just a lot of practice we can get with this, okay? Please forgive me that I'm not putting the little degree signs on. I'm trying to go fast for this video. Okay, we see that 1 and 2 are, what kind of angles? Vertical angles, not corresponding, because corresponding is matching, clones of the spaces, okay? Places. All right, they're not alternate interior and they're not alternate exterior. They're right here. One's outside, one's inside, so that couldn't be alternate interior or exterior. They're vertical. That's an X. When you see the X, those are opposite angles are congruent, vertical. So thus, 1 and angle 2 are congruent. It's that same, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. So that means that angle 2 is 50 degrees. Cool. We see that 2 and 3, 2 and 3, all right, they're in the exact same spot. So we already know what kind, those are clones of each other. They are corresponding. They're not, there's one outside and one inside those 2 lines. So we know that has to be the corresponding, and they're not opposite each other like this or this. They're not in an X. They're in a different X's, so they're corresponding. So since these lines are parallel, 2 and 3 are not supplementary, they are congruent. Congruent, they are the same. Because I circled them, they're the same. Supplementary means I'd have to have one that's 50 and one that's 130. That would add up to 180, which means supplementary. But they're not, they're congruent. So angle 3, gosh, is 50. Therefore, 1 and 3 are, angle 2 and angle 3. I'm gonna go back, yep, they're congruent. So angle 3, this is kind of redundant. Oh, angle 1, okay, so angle 1 and angle 3. Now, that's outside, little angle. Those are congruent. If I'm pointing to them and they're the exact same, you have to say congruent. So 1 and 3 are what? They're not interior, they're exterior, okay? They're not vertical, they're not in the same X, and they're, that's the only thing. So they are alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles. Okay, so the relation, last question. Blech. Here's the rule. When parallel lines are cut by a transversal, okay, 1 and 3 are alternate exterior, so we're gonna say alternate exterior angles are congruent. It was right there at the front. We pick what type of angles these are. We label them as alternate exterior for 1 and 3, that's what they wanna know. And we know that they are congruent. And so we look for alternate exterior congruent here, okay? And last one. Okay. Angle 2 is 110 degrees. Fabulous, that's what it says up there. The measure of angle 2 is 110, so is that. It's the big angle, so I'll look for the big angles down here. or I look at the fact that these are corresponding, they're all 110, which means 110 plus what is 180? 70. Cool. That's just practice. That's not anything more than just practice. Okay, angles 2 and 3. Here's angle 2, here's angle 3. What type are those called? They're either corresponding, vertical, alternate interior, or alternate exterior. Hopefully you said corresponding. They are matching. They're in clones of the same space. Since the lines are parallel, then 2 and 3 are not supplementary, because that would mean that one's a different number. The one's a small and one's the large number, like one of these. They're not. They're exactly the same, which means congruent. So angle 3 is also 110 degrees. When I fill it all out before I answer questions, I hardly have to think. I just have to look. Angles 1 and 2, those are in an X and they're opposite angles. Those are called vertical angles. And angles 1 and 2 are congruent because those are the same. Those are congruent. Okay? And so that means that angle 1 is also 110. Therefore, angle 1, this angle, and angle 3 are also congruent because they're exactly the same. If I see that it's the same, I put congruent. And when I also see that angle 1 and 3 are, what are these? These are not inside, they're outside, they're not vertical, they are on 2 different X's, and they're not supplementary. They're not different numbers. So they have to be, they are alternate exterior angles. And then we just have to say, well, then 1 and 3, when parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then alternate exterior angles are congruent. So we just got to find that, which is, again, that's the first thing. There you go. All right. Alternate exterior are congruent. The only other possibility they would have said they were alternate exterior or supplementary, but nope, they're congruent because they're exactly the same. That's it for this lesson. Woo!